Welcome back to the Dial In podcast. We have a very special guest today, Alfonso Balassone, who is a real estate development expert, general construction, 30-year veteran, senior vice president for Ellis Don, managed some of the largest developments in London, Ontario and across Ontario, including the Ivy building as well, which is a
at Western
marquee project.
And the new Tom Patterson Theatre at Stratford.
Yeah, very impressive. A lot of coordination involved in those projects. Yeah. And throughout building Shelta and building out the brains, I wanted to work with the best, the subject matter experts to build purpose-built AI specifically for real estate development. So very happy to have you.
Yeah, no, for sure. Thank you, David.
So Alf, I mean, we've been working quite a bit together the last few months, sort of behind the scenes, working on skills and working on building out purpose-built brains. What's sort of the number one misconception that real estate developers have when the topic of AI comes up?
Well, 100% is they don't trust it.
Yeah.
They all, for some reason, every developer has their niche. They have their way of doing things, and it's trust and comfort. That's the number one concern.
Yeah.
And they got to get comfortable with the brain or how the brain works, or they just a lot of them just like doing it the way they did it for so many years. Obviously they're successful, right? So they're saying like, why fix what's not broken?
Right. When in reality, they have the best instruction sets and context to power the AI, right? That they're sitting on right now, that they don't know that could really strengthen their operations. So they'll download tools like Procore or even Copilot, which is like early phase AIs, and thinking that, I have Procore or I have a Buildertrend or I have one of these softwares. I have all the software I need, which is a misconception.
Yeah, I think the key is telling them that what the Shelta and the AI brain process does, it sits on top of all those.
Yeah.
It doesn't replace them. Maybe it does eventually, but really what it does is it's continually receiving information from various sources of management tools, all the communication on a project, and it continually is looking out for your best interest. Where it can find risk, it'll advise you of it. And then it creates an action plan to deal with the risk, which is I think it's a matter of getting to show them how that process works will lower their guard and allow them to really accept how the Shelta's AI brain development can work for their team.
Yeah. And we keep saying brain. So I just want to go over a quick definition of what we mean by brain. So I can really break it out into three things. So first we have to define, in a real estate development project, there are many different roles, right? You got your architects, your engineers, your consultants, your GC, your subs. There's many different roles that get involved in the project. So you have to define what are those roles and what do those roles have to do as part of the project. Then you have to define what are the actual actions that these people have to do. So what does the architect assigned to? What does the consultant have to do? What does the GC have to do? So then you define all the roles within that role. And then you have to connect all the tools where all the data comes from. So it goes roles, the actions of those roles, and then the connectors of data. So it all flows through to one place. So that way the AI builds up this context. It knows who it's dealing with, it knows what they have to do, and then it knows where the data comes from. Once you master those things, it's a bit of a lift in the beginning, but that's the work that we've done to pre-build all those into the brain. So now you just have to upload, here's my project, here's my initial site plan, let's get started. Pre-con, let's start.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, just in the experience with working with with this other client of mine on 26 Park, it's been amazing. Like now we're in the zoning, just early zoning, getting the new zoning approved. A lot of reports.
Yeah.
From traffic studies to environmental, especially recently Hydro-G reports, and it knows who sent it, what their roles are, and sometimes it questions the information in the reports saying, wait, this doesn't align with this other drawing or this other report. Like, for example, there was a question it raised about the underside of footing elevation. The underside of footing elevation from one report to the other seemed like there was a disconnect. Yeah. So it'll say, hey, please ask this question to the geotech engineer or to structural engineer, which elevation are we dealing with? Because it depends how much groundwater issues you're going to have, how much shale and rock you're going to remove. So it gets it pretty quick once you define those roles.
Yeah. And what all those roles bring to the project? Documentation. I don't think people realize how document heavy construction and real estate development really is.
Correct,
Thousands and thousands of pages of documentation, which is where AI is so good at digesting the documentation. Like you said, seeing if there's misconceptions or inconsistencies in the information and catching those, rather than having a human have to read manually page by page. And then think back, oh, does this connect over to here? Right? So it can make those connections between documentation. And as much as you're using these out-of-the-box tools, like your project management softwares, you can enter information, but what you really miss out on is the risks and the insights.
It's the insights the key, because like, again, I've been around 35 years. I've started from when people just used those old green, ledger sheets, right? Yeah. Tracking change orders and site instructions, to the first introduction of Word, like some sort of, other than you dictating. I remember the days of dictating my notes into literally a little voice recorder, a little tape cassette, giving it to my administrative or assistant. She would have this whole get up set. She would put the tape, and then she would literally listen and type on a typewriter. And then they started going from that to a very basic word processor. Yeah. So like, we've gone from that to where we are now. It's quite incredible for someone like me, who's at this stage of AI boom, and how it's just can use a lot of my history and knowledge and all my hard knocks lessons I've learned, and feed it into the brain in terms of how to think, how to analyze this information, right? Because it doesn't know. That's what you need. That's what you need people like me to tell it what it means, right? Yeah. Let's give the audience an example of an output. So one of the best outputs we've been getting so far is that 30-day report. Yes. Right? And understanding, because there's so many different people involved every 30 days in a project, it's nice to know, what is the 30-foot overview? What is the 30-day overview of the project right now? What does that report look like, and why is it so valuable? Yeah, it's I sent it to the client and to the lead design architect. They were like quite impressed. It basically shows we got a lot of work to do. Yeah. Like, I mean, there's a lot. So very early, this job is very early in design development, and it's just in now for ZBA, which is zoning bylaw approval, which is what ZBA means. So you go from one density to a higher density, but we're very, very early in schematic design. But there's still, what it does is, hey, nail down your consultants, which we did. Mm-hmm. That was one of the things to do, from M&E to structural. So we nailed the consultant down. Nail down the footprint. Nail down the suite types. Mm-hmm. Which we've done. Yeah. And a lot of it is now saying, it just basically gives you your roadmap of where you need to go. Yeah. And it keeps everybody accountable, because a lot of times your lead consultants are falling behind. Mm-hmm. They have other clients, other priorities, but this is great because it just holds them accountable, saying, hey, this is what I need to do in 30 days. Yeah. Any reason why we can't? Oh, I've got this workload, I can't. Well, just be honest, because in order to maintain this schedule, these things got to be done in the next 3 days. Yeah. And there's nothing that frustrates me more working with developers is seeing really long email threads with everyone CC'd, and it's constant back and forth. You have to go through that thread to see what's happening. The nice thing is now you're taking those threads, you're identifying, okay, what are the actual information we need from these threads, and then it's showing up on that 30-day report. So anything that was promised, anything that was told in those emails, now in that communication, it doesn't just live in your inbox. Now it lives on that 30-day report. Correct. Yeah. No, it's awesome. I can't speak enough of it. Like I said, we have a kind of testing it out in real life, and it's been very effective, I would say. Now, you're someone who works on large projects, right? Yeah. Typically, you're working on close to 100 million plus projects. Yeah. But is it not the same principle for all development size, really, when you're taking this approach? Actually, it is. I mean, at the end of the day, you got a dirt guy, you got a concrete guy, you got a civil guy, you got a structure guy, you got a M&E, mechanical electrical guy. You have finishing people from flooring, painting. So, you have a security access issue guy, right? And you have all of, life safety systems. Mm-hmm. So yes, essentially it's very similar. $5 million job to a $50 million job, all the same players. Yeah. The only difference, contracts are much smaller. Yeah. And the scopes are much smaller. Yeah. And the turnaround will be quicker on a smaller job because obviously you got a lot less square footage to do. Yeah.
And developers ask us consistently, they're saying, okay, what's the return if I use this, right? So we never like to promise an exact number because then no one should really know. We don't have a crystal ball to tell that exact number. But oftentimes a lot of those losses, they come from coordination issues. Like where does a lot of leakage and profit loss happen on real estate developments? Is it really the coordination? Yeah.
Time.
Yeah.
Time is your biggest leakage because things that got mixed up or not dealt with correctly or missed early on will delay when you can actually finish, turn the units around, either sell or rent units. So it's time. That's your factor. With what the Shelta's AI brain can do is it literally keeps people accountable and makes it's a machine.
Yeah.
It's not going to forget, right? So it constantly keeps on top of all the issues that either were missed or not done to keep things going. So time is your number one issue, and a lot of it is caused by poor coordination, missed information, or just mistakes. People not checking, right?
Yeah.
Should have double checked this because the layout doesn't work, or where the main makeup air shaft goes. There was issues with fire separations that needs complete rework.
Yeah. Not having the right information at the right time.
Correct.
Very key. And sequencing, right? Like real estate development is very much like putting together the right sequence and the right schedule. I see you talking constantly about like, okay, once this event happens, it triggers this next event, right?
Correct.
And that person who's next in line oftentimes doesn't get notified until maybe later on, or they're getting pushed back and they start to lose that interest, because interesting thing about this is many of the people you work with on a development, like you said, are working on other projects. Mm-hmm. So you want to be that project that's really, really dialed in, right?
Yeah, I mean, the word I use is you got to be the squeaky wheel.
Yeah.
The squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? So having like an AI assistant partner that the AI brain does, it always keeps them accountable, right?
Yeah.
Hey, where's this? Where's this? How come I didn't get this yet? And unfortunately, it's the nature of the business, right?
Yeah.
I mean, eventually they'll have their own. So if the ultimate utopia in construction would be that from sub-trades to suppliers to the client, that are all on the brain.
Right.
Because they're all communicating with each other. And technically, you don't going to introduce a lot of human error if you think about it, right? If you had all of those partners on a, Shelta AI brain, the efficiencies that project would have, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah. And there's that big fork in the road, right? Where it's like, do I use generic AI, right? Do I just use an off-the-shelf AI, or do I use this purpose-built Shelta AI, right? And there's you and I know the big difference between the two,
Yeah.
but like, how would you describe sort of like just out-of-the-box AI versus using that?
So a great example was with the real estate group I'm working with now, they specifically have a policy now. Only Copilot is to be used as an AI. Like not even they in fact they had a premium ChatGPT. They now discontinued it. Whatever. They read a lot of information. They get a lot of advice. They say, no, you got to keep everything within, the Microsoft 360 family for security and all various other reasons, which is, I'm sure prudent and, makes sense if that's what you're told, right? So we are introducing a scheduling and a project data process through their job. So what they're trying to do is they'll send out like a field quantity survey person to the jobs. I've told him these 5 or 6 key subs, you need to measure each week what the progress was. Not only what the progress was, how many men and how many hours was used in that week, right? Mm-hmm. So he collects his data, submits a report to myself and to the ownership group about, okay, this job, there's X percent complete on the various components from either drywall, M&E, finishes, general. I gave them basically the schedule, monitor these 5. Start with only 5, because 5 subs usually drive the job.
Yeah.
Okay. So I took that report, and then I compared it to the project manager's monthly report, which says basically the job's going to be done on this date. Well, it came back with very high level comments. Oh, we see a risk with the elevator hasn't started yet. Some of the finishes are behind. but it's not really saying, hey, based on this information, we can start seeing a trend here, here, and there. You probably need to add additional manpower for your framing contractor or your drywall contractor who's doing all your framing. We see a potential issue here or there. Again, what I found was the Copilot analysis was very superficial. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have the deep analysis that, say, Claude would use in our application AI brain.
Right. And now it is a Claude engine, right? But it's pre-trained. We're up to about 90 skills and instruction sets now. So I think that misconception is that when you start using this Shelter brain, it's already pre-trained, right? Like you said, you spent 35 years, you know the hard knocks, you've been through many situations. So it starts to build pattern recognition and benchmarking. So you start to understand, okay, where is this AI going to go? Well, it only goes as far as what you've trained it. So it's almost like retraining another team, because it's basically a team of agents, all the different roles, and telling them what your role is and what you're responsible for.
Yeah.
So when you start, it doesn't feel like starting from scratch. It feels like starting with an expert. And that's really like if you generate a report inside of the AI brain for Shelter, you generate a report inside of Copilot. Copilot's going to look on the World Wide Web, right? It's going to look on what current data sources are available to me. This is going to say, which role do I pick? What skills do I pick? What am I acting on? This is very specific, right? And contractors are used to this. This is the misconception, is like your job is to scope projects, right? When you go ahead and do a project, you give a very clear scope, you send it out to individuals, and they perform your scope. It's the same with AI. You treat it just like a project. You have your drawings, you got your specs. It's sort of like we've done the work to train it with the drawings and the specs and the manuals so it knows what to do. And that's the big difference.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think, people argue, oh, well, Copilot does use all of the other AI tools within it. Well, to your point, they don't have the skills, the purpose-built skills that the Shelter team has developed to actually do a proper analysis.
Yeah. And that brings up the topic.
I think the only way to prove it is you should, do what I did, right? I ran a simple analysis with this information just using Copilot and, the project managers, and then I'll do one using our system, the Claude system, with the skills we develop, and just compare the two. It'll be night and day. Like, you won't even be in the same league of how the analysis is done.
Yeah. And that kind of brings up the topic of secret sauce, right? What really constitutes secret sauce? A lot of it is those instructions, but what's this fear and misconception?
I think the biggest issue from speaking with a lot of the owners is a lot of it is financial.
Yes.
I think a lot of it is their concern. They don't want the web or my competitors seeing what kind of margin or markup or what I've made on, or for heaven forbid, their clients. I don't want my clients seeing that I made 10% on their job or whatever, if they think it's like, they're just a fear on the financial side of what they make, what margin they made. They don't want that getting out.
Yeah.
I think it's primarily financial based.
Yeah.
Running a job, procurement of running a job, that's not no secret sauce. Everybody who's taken some basic project management or construction management skills, it's all the same, right? You start with a document and specifications, you break it up into divisions, and you find the most qualified people to do the work. You ensure the scopes that you asked them to price are complete, and because it's always based on scope, schedule, costs. Those are your three most important things.
Yeah. Yeah. And all companies have scope, schedule, and costs, and they all have the same divisions. They've got their operations, they've got the field, they've got accounting, they got marketing, they got sales. They have all the same divisions. It's their proprietary numbers, the identifiable data that they're concerned about,
Very
right?
much, yeah.
So the stance that we've taken with the Shelter Brain is that we don't retain those numbers, those names, those specific identifiable data, right? It's just like, no, we understand that this is the skill set that all companies need to use, but then what you do in it, that's up to you. We can understand that every week or every month we're adding new skill sets, new things we discover in the field, new things that we might be missing. Maybe there's a role we might be missing. So that's why the nice thing about being a part of the AI Brain is like every week you get new roles and new skills and new things that we uncover because we're learning. We're doing many, many developments, working with many, many of the best in the industry. But your data is your data. And if you're on a team plan, if you're on a pro plan of Claude, there's certain, even just simple things like settings, turning off the settings and making sure it's not training on your data. And then the misconception is developers are saying, well, what about team members that are just not using AI regardless? They're not going to use AI. They're only going to use the AI that I tell them. But I would say majority of teams right now have individuals who are using their own AI within the company.
Oh, absolutely.
Their personal accounts, right, to do their job faster. I'd be hard pressed to find if nobody's using AI.
Yeah, like
right?
hey, if you're a project manager, you got to get 3 bid packages out, and it's got to be out by the end of the week. Human nature, right? Path of least resistance. If you've got this tool that says, hey, create me these a tender package or a scope of work for framing. Here's the drawings. Here's the specs. Here's roughly the timeline. Create a 10, 11 item scope of work and a bid form.
Right.
I mean, it'll spit it out in 30 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously you would need to edit it because it ain't going to be perfect if you're using some generic AI, right? Either chat or Copilot.
Right. So you want to get ahead of it, right? Sure. You have to just kind of accept the fact that some of my team members may be using their personal accounts already, right?
And
so
you're not going to stop them.
No. Right? Like you said, path of least resistance, human nature. I mean, especially with the younger generation starting to join these companies, like they're AI natives. They're AI first. They grew up in university using AI to do exams and essays and tests.
Yeah.
So when they come to your office, they're going to follow suit, keep using it. So you want to get ahead of it and be like, okay, we know you're using AI, but you have to use this one. You got to be on this company plan. So then it's under your control. So now you're taking it under your control. You set up the parameters and you continuously learn from what they're inputting into the AI, right? Because you don't want to keep everything in their personal account. If they start contributing to your company account, your estimating division, the company brain starts to learn these things. So you can start to learn and see how they're using AI for your company. You start to pick up on, hey, Roger might be using it really well for estimating. Let's pick up on that skill. So it starts all accumulating towards strengthening your company's overall AI presence.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because if you don't, then to your point, yeah, they're going to use their own personal account. Yeah. They're going to develop their own brain, and then they may not say, hey, if they're not happy one day, they'll just pick up and leave.
Yeah.
Take their brain, go somewhere else.
Right.
With stuff they learned from you.
Right. It's almost like if a guy started working at your company and they started using their personal Gmail instead of your company email, and all their emails live in their personal account, and then when they leave, it leaves with their personal account. It's not on your company email. Right. It's very much the same with AI. I just don't think people make that direct correlation that it's like using a personal Gmail, right? Then there's the compounding effect. So the exciting part for us working together is you're working on this on a few projects. You're using the AI brain, but you're still early days. You're pre-con, you're going through things, you're seeing the benefits. I'm really excited for you to finish a project and then get to do the post-con analysis of how things went, where things could have gone better, and then do your next project, right? That compounding data effect. I think that's where the real magic's going to happen.
I think you hit it right on the head. Once you get through your first and built the relative skills appropriate to your company's way of doing things, the compounding effect is 10x, maybe more. I mean, it's not linear, it's exponential, right? So the next project you put in, again, basic information, it'll create all of your schedules, all of your bid packages, all of your budgets, all your coded estimates that you need in like seconds.
Yeah.
Like, you think about that for a minute, right? I mean, I grew up, once you got a job awarded, right? So you got a job, then the estimators take 3 weeks to go through the estimate, come to truth with some mistakes they made or reconcile some mistakes, move money. I mean, the bid's the bid. That's the number. So they play around with where they found money. Maybe they overcompensated for something. But at the end of the day, that takes time. Yeah. So that's say 3 weeks. And then they sit down and they turn it over to the execution team, project management team, say, okay, here's the approved budget. Here's the approved fee. Then they got to code it. Yeah. They got to convert all these estimates into a coded budget in which the project manager and superintendent, as invoices come in, everything gets coded to a specific code line item, and that's how you track all your costs, through coded estimate and invoicing.
Right.
So this process is probably what you work with more your sub-trades, right? That you've automated a lot of their coding, invoice coding for their job, because subs will run 20 times more projects than a CM or an owner, right?
Right.
Because they work for multiple people.
Yeah.
So they're doing this process many more times than a CM or an owner, right?
Right. And shorter life cycles of projects as well. But you're mentioning the coding. Like, I'm sure there's templates you've used for many years, right? Budget templates, estimating templates, closeout docs, the whole gambit. nice thing is now is you used to have to manually update those and change them.
Yeah.
But the cool part is now with the brain is like it has those templates, right? And it's continually improving them from project to project and updating them for you, right?
Yeah, wouldn't it be incredible? You created your estimate, however you did in terms of winning a bid or a job, and then you feed the final version of the estimate to the brain with the knowledge of already the coded estimate. You're talking seconds, like versus taking like a few days to a week from the costing people to get it done and then hand it back over to the execution team to use.
Yeah.
Think about that. I mean, that's just mind blowing.
Now I want to talk a bit about the relationship. So you get a young tech company who's up and coming, who's growing rapidly, comes to you, veteran who's been in this, you know how things work, you know how things operate, and you have a growth mindset. We're lucky to find you, right? If like you realize that you're willing to try things, you understand that it could work, it could not work. But why does a young AI tech company come to you as a veteran? Why has it been such a great relationship so far?
Honestly, I think I always love learning.
Yeah.
I'm one of these people that I always like learning something every day. Like I'm never closed-minded about it. I'm always open to many things. And I think what opened my, like the first time when you approached me, I was like, I gave you some stuff, basic KPI stuff. And then, I mean, you just took it to another level that I have never seen before. So I mean, it's pretty intuitive, right? Like I was just so impressed in the sense that how this technology and the way you guys know how to use it can just revolutionize the industry. So I'd like to be part of this revolution of our industry because let's face it, construction is like probably the biggest laggard amongst all industries in North America, probably behind hunting and fishing or gaming, right? I mean, it's just, that's the way it's been, right? Because a lot of people are like, well, we've done this for 30 years, you know, don't break what's broken, blah, blah, blah. But that's the thinking you got to dismiss, right? And I think for someone like me, who's 35 plus years, almost 60 years, I've seen pretty much a lot of transition from manual analog to digital to see what your team is able to do in such a very, very, very short period of time with, you know, basic stuff is very exciting for me. So I like to be involved in this whole evolution. And I you know, I'm one of these guys, I have FOMO, a fear of missing out. So that's me. I don't want to miss out. Yeah.
And we recognized early on that we have this powerful tool, but it's only as good as the information it gets, right? So that's why we seek out the best, like yourself, to come to work together with us on projects. That's why we're actively working on projects, because we understand that you know things that we don't, and we can bring you tools that could take those things and 10x them.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? And I think I think they're going to turn a lot of heads. I think a lot of the big players in the industry are going to scratch their heads and they're going to think about, wow, we're going to have to figure this out ourselves. We're going to hire X amount of people. We're going to do this ourselves. When really, you know what? I mean, I think we're there.
Yeah.
I just think they just got to give us an opportunity to show them that they don't need to hire 3 really expensive, chief technology officers that are, so-called AI experts, and then spend a year or more developing their own, and then finding out that really it's not much different than what's already available.
Yeah. And all those, we're going to do it ourselves. I mean, from our experience so far, who's going to do it? Who's going to set it up? Right? You're talking about having a lack of time right now. Who's going to take the time to train it, to instruct it, to take 35 years plus 6 years boots to the ground, put it together? Why do companies like Harvey AI in the legal realm have an $11 billion valuation? Because they've taken all the best knowledge of legal and law and just put it into one platform. And now all the best lawyers in the world use it because they don't have the time to put together all that context, to build that purpose-built system. They want something that works. And the clients that we've worked with who've accepted it, they want results, right? Mm-hmm. The beautiful thing about this is it can give you results instantly. It's not like one of those things you got to wait, a couple months, 6 months for you to actually start seeing results. We were able to show results in the first week, even just having preliminary documentation.
Yeah, like the whole 30-day, we talked about the 30-day action report. Like
Yeah.
that was, and even using like tools like Granola, right? Granola's been a life changer for me. Like the ability to, I mean, obviously there's a lot of other competing products, but the ability to take the notes, scribe them, and then summarize, and then create follow-up emails, and then take that summarized meeting summary and put it into the knowledge base for the project. Now the project knows, oh, all these things were discussed on this day.
Yeah.
And so when you give it new information, it already knows the discussions that's had in a meeting to give you better answers and better analysis.
Yeah. And those are meeting transcribers for AI, creating transcripts so that you can then train your AI. So a lot of these companies too is just like our meetings with them and the meetings they have with individuals after they meet with us and they talk about AI, like recording those, that's the goal too, right? All the meetings that you and I have had, I mean, I don't think we've had a meeting in months where we haven't recorded it and
Right.
it's turned into something, some kind of insight or some kind of compounding effect where like, hey, we said this last time, we're going to do it this time. So who are we looking to work with right now?
We're looking to work with people that can embrace the technology, that are not afraid of so-called the whole secret sauce concept, because really, we all put our pants on one leg at a time. We all put our shoes on one at a time. I think once we get a bit of mileage underneath us with some proven projects, I just think the sky's the limit. So anybody that's in the building, construction, development business is who we want.
Yeah. Yeah. You own land, you're looking to develop, you're stuck on a project, you're pre-con. And that's the cool thing too, is whether you're pre, during, or post-con, you can kind of jump in the brain at any phase.
Yes.
Because you can leverage the skills and the tools that are in those phases.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of owners that have property that want a project, a lot of them struggle where to go, where to start. They always say, "Oh, I'm going to get an architect first." Well, sure, you can do that.
Yeah.
But maybe you should consider the whole Shelter team here to help right from day one, because what you want to do probably already been done.
Yeah.
And probably now we've got enough information to quickly analyze the project you want to do. And a lot of projects, everyone says, when you're in that development or mode, not like most of your time is spent finding the land and the opportunities.
Right.
Like you got to spend 90% of your time. Why? Because 95% of the stuff you're looking at ain't going to work.
Yeah.
The numbers don't work.
Yeah.
Right? So this just helps you go through that a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Way quicker.
Even the go, no go report that we've been
Yes,
working on.
Go, no go is absolutely huge for developers, because before they put an offer on a piece of land, they need to know not a lot, they just basic metrics in terms of return, the probability of getting it rezoned for higher density. Servicing is a huge issue, potentially even with the soil condition, or like if there's contaminants or significant groundwater issue. Those all add to the costs of your pro forma, right? So you need to have that kind of, so the brain will tell you, hey, do you have this, and this? Before you make an offer, you need these 5 things.
Yeah.
Do you have it? No. Okay, well, you better get it before you decide to put it in a purchase offer.
Right. And for those that are curious, what does it look like to get started with the brain? Well, you just upload whatever documentation you have to start with, and then it picks what stage you're in and who should be involved in that stage, and it begins questioning you, begins walking you through the interview process. So it has to get to know you and your situation to then decide which direction to go. So it's as simple as just uploading your preliminary documentation, going through an interview, and in 30 minutes, you could have insights that you've been looking for 30 years.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, Alf, it's been really fun taking 40 years of knowledge in 4 months and building something super cool.
Yeah,
together.
I'm just looking forward to the next so many years, because I have no intent of retiring anytime soon. So no, David, thank you. I think to be honest, I mean, this is great because you guys, like you said, you grew up in this generation of that. Like I didn't.
Yeah.
So for me, it's every day's like Christmas, right? Because it's always something new, something different, and I'm just amazed every day on the things that as the brain gets more knowledge and more processes, and just how smarter it gets, just the ability to return answers very quickly and expedite stuff.
Yeah. 2 of the greatest companies in the world, Apple and Disney, they both founders, that we're in the business of magic.
Yeah.
Right? Every time Steve Jobs dropped a new product, he wanted to create magic. Every time you went to Disney, you want to feel magic. it's cool because I feel like we're in the industry of magic as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's magic that makes you money. Right?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
the key. At the end of the day, you got to make money.
100%. Yeah.
So anyway, thank you.
Thank you. And just thank you to the whole team behind the scenes. I mean, we get to do the fun stuff sometimes on camera, but it's the team of engineers,
Absolutely.
John, Anthony, Avery, Elliot, making it all happen behind the scenes.
Yeah, I know. You got a great team here, and let's keep going. Only good things ahead, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.